And then we'll go into how will technology change not only the way our parents age, but maybe how we age, and that's where you can talk about, what was the name of the conference again?
We had the Aging Australia
Aging Australia, that's it, Aging Australia. Age Tech Conference. Yeah. Okay, Aging Australia. And I'd love for you to bring to life a little bit about Abby and the robot, and just explaining that I think the way we think of nursing homes is totally going to evolve, because
it already has.
Because it has to anyway, right?
It already has.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say we were going for a hyper jump. We've now coming out of the hyper jump. We've landed coming out of warp speed. These innovations, Pure Food Co. or Abby, these are other care tech. There's a whole bunch.
So what are there any interesting ones that you want to call out?
I will call out a few of my care techians, if you like. But we're part of a small group of innovators that are trying to do good technology for in aged care.
Yeah.
It's relatively new. This idea that you can tackle big problems and create innovation in Australia for aged care is relatively new, non-clinical.
Yeah, totally. It's not a health thing at all.
No, it's not. It's a people thing.
Yeah.
And now the Aged Care Act is now seeing that, and you see that it's person is now the most important reform in aged care. Do you think
yeah. And then as we get to the end, where Tom's going to nag me and remind me when I'm talking too long, as we get to the end, I ask you to choose between two words. So I'll give you choices like, so Jimmy, tea or coffee, and you just choose the one that's you. It's just gives us a bit of pace at the end. And then Mitch, the first two words I'm going to ask you is palliative care at home or hospital? Yeah, so just so I don't throw you on anything.
Good question.
Are we ready to go?
Not
yet?
Yeah. Everything's recording. Just obviously
Let's call it that.
stay behind your mic. Let's notice you were talking like
You
sort
know
of
I'm
past
not
it.
very good at that.
Yes.
Now, if I could just ask, especially if you want to like look to your right and start talking, like you sort of just be conscious of staying behind the mic. So I'd say if you like turn your head like that and start talking,
Yeah.
the mic will barely pick it up.
So I'll just turn my head.
Yeah. If you could, is there any way you could maybe angle more to?
Towards Mitch.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that.
sure. You stick
Do
up.
I,
Be more
Hi.
towards Mitch.
hello? Should I do the same thing?
You're okay, I think.
I like saying
With each.
What if I
Because
talk to Jimmy?
yeah, so like, yeah, you don't have to exaggerate that much, but if you just like did like that or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Will work.
I feel like I like this angle. I've actually got a better angle.
Hello.
I'm staring at you.
Yeah, we
guys.
haven't used this set yet.
But yeah, if you're more comfortable in the corner there, I can set you up there as well. Up to you.
That robot. Where'd you get your robot?
Oh, sorry, yeah, I can move that.
No, I don't mind it.
And also,
I'm
if
just
you want
wondering where you got it
if
from.
these are helpful, if not, I just brought them. So I don't know if they look bad.
Yeah.
I would prefer
No.
not interrupting these.
No, I think it's all. I think it's all
I
good.
kind of scattered them so it didn't look too.
I think it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just nice to have a bit of visual interest, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not an hour-long TV show or anything. It's just a thing. I'm going to do a couple of little set pieces depending on
Oh,
what
yeah.
Citro wants. Is that all right? Should I do those? Which is my camera? That one?
Just there, yeah.
Okay.
Everything's rolling.
It's rolling? Okay. I'm Alex. Hit that bell to like, subscribe and follow the Midlife Shift where you get all the juicy conversations to thrive after 50. I'm Alex Brooks. Hit the bell to like, subscribe and follow the Midlife Shift where you can get all the juicy conversations to thrive after 50. You're watching the Midlife Shift with Alex Brooks. Today, we dive into the tech, trends and tips to help age with more connection, purpose and joy. You're watching the Midlife Shift with Alex Brooks. Today, we dive into the tech, trends and tips to help age with purpose, connection and a little bit of joy. Okay, intro one. What if caring for our older parents and loved ones wasn't so much a crisis or stress, but a pathway to finding something better? Well, today we're going to talk to carer extraordinaire Mitch and Tea Time founder Jimmy and find the wild new ways our generation might do ageing and care a little bit differently. Intro number two. What if caring for our older parents and loved ones wasn't necessarily a stress or a crisis, but maybe a better way or an innovative way to find something new? We're going to talk to carer extraordinaire Mitch Gibson and Tea Time founder Jimmy Leishman about the wild new ways our generation looking at getting older and caring fathers. Are you ready? Okay, I'm going to open with that same intro again, but I'm going to do it quickly. So what if caring for our older parents and loved ones wasn't so much a crisis or stress, but a pathway to something better, more innovative, with more connection and love? We're here to talk with carer extraordinaire Mitch Gibson and Tea Time founder Jimmy Leishman about wild new ways our generation might do caring for others and getting older just a little bit better. Are we going to have wine glasses to drink?
I'm so sorry. I just thought this was a rush. Anyone to quickly clean?
I'm sorry, I can't.
No,
work on
they'll
those
need to.
dishes.
I think it'll be hilarious.
I think go for it.
We're so innovative.
I feel like it's just going to suit. It's going to suit.
I'm okay.
Joel, I'll wash you one now.
No, I'm okay.
Oh,
You sure?
vodka.
Can I put it
It's
down
vodka.
here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like it's
they'll
gonna be
tell you if
It'll feel
you.
like easy for me anyway.
Yeah.
Is that
There
okay?
you are. See
Yeah,
how
good
handy
job.
Mark is for hiding your drinking.
You have no idea how ironic that statement is.
All right, I'm going to start. Do that intro again. So what if caring for our older parents and loved ones wasn't so much of a crisis or stress, but maybe a pathway to finding something better, more innovative, just something different? Here we're going to talk with carer Mitch Gibson and Tea Time founder Jimmy Leishman about wild new ways our generation might find caring for others and growing older a little bit more innovative, a little bit better. Welcome to the two of you. Now, Mitch, you have had a really tough 5 years. Really tough. You lost your beloved partner, Mark, who's here on the table with us today.
I know.
Yeah, hi, darling. All while navigating the care of your elderly parents, who now have both passed. Now, if you could just do one word to sum up your caring journey, what would that word be?
Sorry, Alex. Sorry. Can we just take it from the top? Sorry, I think I was doing too many things at once.
Okay,
But I
Tom.
didn't click play on that.
Oh, you're sad.
So you can go from when they're about to answer. So I got you, and I've got the wide
I'll
shot.
do it again.
But if you just go from when they need to start talking, then that's
Okay.
fine.
So we're talking to carer extraordinaire Mitch Gibson and Tea Time founder Jimmy Leishman about the wild new ways our generation might care for others and how technology might help make it that little bit easier. Now, Mitch, you have had a tough 5 years. You lost your beloved partner, Mark, who's right here on the table with us today,
I don't.
all while navigating the care of your elderly parents who have now also sadly passed. What's one word to sum up this carer journey you've been on?
Oh, one word. I would have to say surreal.
I agree. Now, Jimmy, you've got a social enterprise creating connection for older people. Now, what is Tea Time? Tell us what you do.
Well, at its simplest, it's a photo and video sharing.
Okay. Now, that doesn't sound particularly innovative when we're talking about it like that, but explain how it works in a residential care facility, for example. Give us a vivid picture of what it might do.
Let me tell you. So we got family all around the world.
Yep.
We have aging Australians in residential aged care homes
Yep.
here in Australia, beautiful homes, and we have to keep them safe. We have to connect safely. It's not something you can just set and forget with. You need to have some sort of check and balance when sharing photos and videos.
Okay.
Things in the background.
So no scammers.
No scammers. There's medication. There's individuals that have fallen over, trips and falls, very common in aged care. So sharing photos and videos and messages is hugely complex, and it sounds
Okay.
simple, but there's a lot of consideration involved. So Tea Time allows that. It allows for that connection in a very safe way. We can talk about the architecture later.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a beautiful piece of technology that's working.
Okay, because we are currently what we're calling the sandwich generation, right? We're all living longer, but one of the side effects of this is that many women hit middle age and they're not just caring for teenage kids, they're also caring for their elderly parents, their loved ones, and sometimes their partners, as Mitch has experienced. Now, the bizarre thing about this in Australia is that while we're living longer and most of us don't want to financially retire, the Australian Bureau of Statistics says most of us retire in our 50s. And a lot of experts are saying this is because so many of us are caring fathers or caring for our own health. So talk to me a little bit about how what that means to you, Mitch. Like when I tell you that people are financially retiring, there's a sandwich generation shouldering this caring burden. Tell me what that looked like for you over the last 5 years.
The caring burden, I'm not a sandwich generation person because officially I don't have children.
You do have cats.
But I do have cats, thank you.
Very important.
I have cats.
And you
I
had a lot of challenges
I had
navigating.
Exactly. I had a very small business that I had to sell when I decided to care for my late partner, Mark. And so it's just, and ever since then I really haven't worked properly since because I've only just finished caring for my parents. My mum passed away 2 months ago. So well, that's why I picked the word surreal.
Yeah.
It's been crazy.
Because let's talk a little bit about the diagnosis that changed everything, because most people have these crises in their lives at an unexpected moment when you just think life's humming along, you might be planning your next holiday, thinking what you're going to do for Christmas, and then boom, suddenly you're in a car park at a hospital and you get some news. And that's typically how some of these midlife caring journeys begin, is in a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
So talk to me about what happened with Mark.
So Mark was 52. He was, he'd run his own business. He was a producer. He'd been a producer of all kinds of things. He was a go-getter. He was artistic. He was living life. We both were living life together. And he started experiencing a bit of niggly back pain, and all of the normal like osteos and chiros and massage and acupuncture, they kind of weren't cutting through it. And then I kind of had a look at the anatomy chart, and you know, we do enjoy a drink. And I thought, it's kind of near your liver, maybe you should go to the GP. And so the GP, knowing Mark's medical history obviously, said, let's get you a scan. So they scanned him and they found some spots on his liver. And then they thought, okay, well, we need to biopsy that. So they gave him a biopsy, and at this point, I didn't know anything about medical terminology, nothing at all. And I was like, I wonder what's going to happen next. Anyway, I remember so clearly.
Did it just feel unsettling to get that news? Like, did you just go, oh, we'll wait and see what they tell us?
To be honest, I had so much else going on. I was just
because
like,
you're running a business,
exactly.
living life.
And
yeah.
I was like, okay, I guess it's something I could stress about, but I'll stress about it when I realise I need to.
Okay.
So it was a bit different than the afternoon we were expecting the phone call. And they said, we'll call you at 4 o'clock. And so the phone call came in, and I'm sitting next to Mark on the couch, just like I'm sitting with Jimmy here. And I'm listening sort of through the phone. And the guy literally said to Mark, well, what we've found is you have pancreatic cancer, and it's stage 4, and there's actually nothing we can do for you. You're not a candidate for surgery. So I'm going to refer you to an oncologist. Good luck with everything.
And that's how
It
they
was
deliver the
literally
news.
like that.
That's how you do it.
And with that, our whole world just vaulted.
Yeah, and what's so interesting, Mitch, and I know you would probably never see yourself as the hero of this terrible journey, but you are now a grief educator, and you do a lot of work with Violet, and you are actually an incredible person to be around. So you are very articulate. You've written a few articles for Citro about the journey that I think have been particularly illuminating, because what Mark did was not necessarily stock standard. So you obviously had a horrific journey navigating the end of life, which we can dive into a little bit. But tell us what he did with his body that's so interesting, because I think that was a fascinating one.
Well, it was kind of interesting because we didn't have any end-of-life conversations until literally there was 3 weeks left. And we had to scramble to get a will and to get a power of attorney, to get all of that
That's
stuff.
the all goes to shit kit that Jean
That's
Kitson
the all
talks
goes to
about.
shit
Yeah.
kit. But we were so driven by hope. Like, we're going to be,
You're
the
gonna be
5%
yeah.
of people that survive this ridiculous disease, we're going to be in that 5%. What are they taking? We need to know what they're taking. I was so driven by hope. And so when it came down to there's no more treatment, that's it. It was like, oh, what do we do now? It was really surreal. And so to answer your question, that was the time Mark and I finally were able to have end-of-life conversations that were actually real and going to happen. And
He decided.
he had decided, that's right. I always knew that he was a big on organ donation. We both were. We were kind of advocating about it. And at this point, I'm like, sweetie, your body's full of cancer.
Yeah.
We're going to take your organs.
No one wants your liver.
And that's the thing. No one wants any
Or your
of it.
pancreas.
That's it. And so they sort of said, well, Mark had already known about this. There was a UTS body donation program that you register prior to your death, obviously, and then them accepting the generous donation of your body is approved after you've actually died. And you set all this up beforehand. So they say, thank you. They get all the medical history.
Yeah.
They figure out where you are, and they say to you very clearly, so when Mark dies, the hospital will let us know, and we will give you a call, because in case anything untoward happens during the actual death. So sure enough, after Mark died, about 4 hours later, I got a call from the guy who was the head of the UTS body donation program.
Wow.
And he was always respectful, so respectful and beautiful. And he said, I'm so sorry to hear Mark's gone. We gratefully accept his donation. And here's what will happen. They're going to keep his body at the morgue all night, and we will come to get him tomorrow morning, and we'll keep him at the facility, in the science faculty at UTS for up to 2 years. And then you're going to receive his ashes at some time in the next 2 years.
And this is the thing about this very generous gift. I think a lot of us are looking at new ways to do funerals and end of life. I mean, I definitely don't think the way, our grandparents had stuffy funerals where, children were seen and not heard, and, there was just a wake with sandwiches. I don't know if that's going to cut it for our generation or even our parents, really.
Yeah.
But I think the beautiful thing you wrote about with that was that obviously you don't have the same kind of funeral service as a traditional end of life, because there's no body to bury or cremate, which is what most of the ceremony is about, right? Instead, you just had to wait for the random call and tell us about what the service that they give you.
Well, the service they give us was interesting. They said up to 2 years, so I'd sort of filed that for 2 years down the
And
track.
you had a few other caring responsibilities
I
at
had
the
a lot
time.
going on, besides blinding grief and all of that. But I remember one night I was trying to get my cats in because we were going to bed, and I noticed a letter sticking out of my letterbox. This is 3 months after he died. And it was 11 o'clock at night, and I opened the letter and was like, hi, we've got his ashes, come and collect. And I'm like, oh God, I'm so not ready for this.
Oh, so that would have been quite an unexpected moment.
Yeah, I had a
Did you have a meltdown?
I had a meltdown.
Yeah,
It was just another meltdown. So when I went to collect his ashes, I took a friend with me, which was just lovely.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That is nice. But you also, so you had to collect his ashes, and then later they had a bit of a service at the cemetery, right?
Like 18 months later, when COVID and everything was all finished, because there was still COVID and lockdowns and all that sort of stuff happening. So when all of that was sort of gone, I received an invitation from the UTS body donation program. And they were having like a memorial, like a group memorial for all this year's donors.
Yeah.
And we were invited out to Rookwood Cemetery, which is the biggest cemetery in
It's where my granddad is buried.
Yes,
And that's where the saying Rookwood comes from.
It's an extraordinary place.
Yeah.
As soon as you drive
Very
through those
historic.
gates, it's like, wow, in a non-creepy way.
Yeah.
So what I didn't realise is the UTS program has this little dedicated space, which is a permanent fixture there. And if you want a place to go to be with your person or to remember your person, that's the place I can go. So they held this really beautiful ceremony that afternoon. And they had the Dean of the Faculty of Science speaking about how important the donations are. They had a few of the actual science students speaking about not only how important and how respectful they are, but it's like, I remember clearly this one student, she said it made the pages on the textbook literally come to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a very different way to commemorate one's life, right?
It is, but it's really purposeful.
Yeah, exactly. And what sort of funeral, after all the grief you've been through, Mitch, what sort of funeral do you want?
Whoa. That's a great question. To be honest, I've never even thought about it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm too busy planning
Isn't-
other people's. That's the truth.
I think that's so hilarious. So I remember being young and we used to all talk about what would be our funeral song.
Yeah.
And you know, the song choice at a funeral is a bit like the song choice at a wedding. It's
pretty
like,
wild.
what does it mean?
Yeah.
You know, and people leave it in their will as an instruction.
Absolutely.
And I was obsessed with, you know, Pretty in Pink and all those teenage movies from the 80s, and there was the Simple Minds song, Don't You Forget About Me,
Yeah.
which was my narcissistic funeral choice of when
That's
I was in my
lovely.
teens and
Good
20s.
That's lovely.
I don't think that would be my funeral song
I
anymore,
think
but
that's a good.
do you have a funeral song choice?
I don't have a song choice at the moment, but now that you've come to ask me about funeral, I'm going to have a living lake. I
Yeah.
don't want to miss out on the lovely things people say about you when you're already gone.
Yeah.
I want to hear all that stuff.
What
So-
about you, Jimmy? What's your funeral song?
Oh, again, I haven't.
You haven't thought about it. Most of us don't, right?
Yeah, no, I haven't. I
But we
think
do
I
need to
put
think
more
about
thought to it.
these
I think
things.
I need to put more thought to it.
It's
What
also-
about your parents? Do you know what they want for their funeral?
You know, my parents, they will live forever.
I think that's what everyone thinks,
That's
right?
That's the attitude I think I have, my sister has, they have.
I think everyone.
They will live forever.
We might need to have a talk,
Yeah,
Dave.
Yeah.
I think so.
Because the reality is, half the reason grief and bereavement is so hard is that we
Yeah.
don't like to think about it.
Yeah.
It's we close the door on what is a basic reality of life. I mean, none of us get out of here alive,
That's the
right?
It's pretty risky. Like.
Yeah, well, it's the problem with it.
Culturally, we're so weird about it. I just don't know why.
Well, I think
Yeah.
when you've come into this great age of longevity like we have, you don't see a lot of death anymore. And just 50 years ago, you know, a lot of kids didn't even make it to the age of 5, right? Like until we had widespread childhood vaccination, you know, kids
yeah.
would be dying.
Exactly.
And now we think everyone lives a long time, and then COVID came along and showed us we could get a little blip, and you know, you've got grandparents living into their hundreds now.
I know.
Yeah.
The stats actually show that the longer you live, so the healthier you are into your 80s, the longer you're going to live. Now, the flip side of the longevity is that you've got this decaying health span. And
Quality of life as well.
yeah, and Mitch, talk about what happened with your parents, and obviously you're navigating the chronic, terrible time you had with Mark's illness, right when your parents, what was their diagnosis and what
Well,
happened?
It was a weird thing. This is all before Mark got sick. 2014, they both had a pretty horrible year. They were both separately diagnosed with different things. My dad had this really aggressive skin cancer on his forehead.
That's the Australian curse.
I
that's skin
know,
cancer.
right? Well, I can
Brits,
see why.
you're very lucky for throwing
Yeah,
up
I
in
know.
Brit.
We SPF every day.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah,
So
skin
you should.
cancer's a curse.
Yeah, so my dad had this big aggressive melanoma, and my mum bulged a disc onto a nerve, so she had to have spine surgery with some metal put in there. And I've got this photograph of mum in recovery after her surgery, and dad with his head is crimson
Like a
and
mummy.
wrapped in bandages, and they're just standing there going, "Oh, Mum, this is so shit," because it was like.
Because
You
they're
can't
both
write
ill
this
at the
stuff.
same time,
At the exact
right?
same time. So mum was in hospital for 10 months that year.
10
Yeah.
months?
My dad, his radiation was really successful, so by the time we got
Wow.
mum home, she ended up having a stroke after a series of, I'm not even going to bore you with it, but she had a stroke. So she came home visually impaired, physically impaired, with a stroke brain, and we had to get 2 different aged care packages for both of them at home.
Oh dear.
So they both went straight to level 4 packages, and it was hectic.
Because that's quite a lot of admin
Yeah.
from a carer's perspective,
Yes.
isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And our Jean Kitson podcast talks to some of that,
Yes.
and she gives a lot of really practical advice. But what about emotional, Mitch? I mean, that's the thing that people can't be prepared for.
No, and the thing is, I didn't understand the concept of anticipatory grief back then. And for those out there that don't understand what that is, it's your person is still alive and in front of you, but they're so not the person they were, and they are deteriorating. And they're sort of slowly, you're losing them in stages, even though they're still alive and still here.
And this is actually the challenge for carers, really, is that's the nub of it, because everyone dances between wanting to have a very human engagement like you talk about with tea time. You want to love that person and just be with them,
Yep.
but you've also you've got to make sure they're showered, make
Yep.
sure the carer appointment's booked, you've got to make sure the doctor appointment's sorted and the medication.
Yep. You have to be this really high-functioning, well-organised person while you're in heavy-duty anticipatory grief. And those little benchmarks that just pop up randomly, like, oh, of a sudden she doesn't know who you are.
Oh.
And you're like, oh, hi, and I'm Michelle, I'm your daughter. And I eventually became known by Mum as, you're the nice lady in the green dress that visits me all the time. And I was like,
Would that break your heart?
God, into a million pieces over and over again. But it just, I've learned so much about dementia and the world of dementia and what's helpful and what's not helpful.
Because dementia,
God.
and this is a horrible fact, but dementia is the leading cause
It's
of
the
death of
leading
women.
cause of death.
And
Yep.
many women will end up either caring for someone with dementia or potentially having it themselves. And so making your wishes really clear is quite important so that
It is.
before it all goes to shit.
Exactly, but once it has gone to shit, you need to learn how to meet them where they are.
And talk about that, because I think you've had some interesting
How much
things
time do
because
we have?
my husband's mum had dementia and she never failed to recognise her kids, but she often failed to place me because obviously she, I wasn't her child.
There's a lot of capacity happening in there. Yeah.
But talk about the fact that a lot of people try to correct the dementia patient's view.
All I can say
Of the world.
is asking a person with dementia, do you remember blah blah, is like saying to a blind person, can you see that fan over there?
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm blind, I can't see. It's like, no, I don't remember.
So
That's
how
the
can you
nature of
have that
dementia.
conversation? So how can you have those engaging moments?
So what you can do instead of do you remember, you can own it yourself and say, I remember this time when we had a picnic down at Bobbin Head and we got these high boats, and something in her might light up and go, oh yes, I do remember that, especially if it's a long-term memory. But if it just happened last week,
There's no-
you can't say, do you remember? I can say, well, I remember I learned this thing last week, let me teach it to you or let me tell you about it. Do you want to hear about that?
Yeah, that's so interesting. And Jimmy, talk to me. You've just been at a great conference where age tech is becoming the new thing, right? Let's talk a little bit about some of the technologies that are coming to help us with some of this shifting health span, lifespan, care dilemma that is currently a real financial and emotional burden for a lot of people.
Sure. Thank you for sharing your story, Richard.
Yeah.
I feel you. And I think a lot of our tea timers, if you like,
Yeah.
that's our community.
Yeah.
These tea timers, they're families that are somewhere in that.
I get it.
In that-
So get it.
at that
It's a
stage.
really difficult place to be, but it can be a really wealthy place to be as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, you articulated so very well.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. For us, I see care tech. I just see care tech everywhere now. It's I feel like I'm very selfish in a way. I'm building an aged care that I want to be in.
Yeah,
And I've got-
but I don't think that is selfish. I actually think that's selfless because
Yeah.
no one wants those places where they just lock people away
No.
to, do nothing. Like
Yeah.
you want to be connected to people, and you can see, like with my own aging
Yeah.
parents. My father did pass before he got the chance to age, but my mother, you can see the mobility is becoming a bit more limited, and they can't do as much as they used to. But they're still a human being, right?
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
how do you bring that humanity
Yeah.
into these new environments and these new ways of living?
For us, it's always been we're not looking for a problem. We know the problem.
Yeah.
We're close to the problem. We spend a lot of time in aged care facilities, memory support units, with
Yeah, okay.
all different individuals at different stages. I was an aged care consultant before,
Creating tea time.
with my co-founder Ed Trick, before the lightning bulb hit, with the lightning bulb.
Yeah. The moment
the
when you
moment.
went, this will just be better.
This is it, tea time's here.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, we ran towards that. Before that, we spent hundreds of hours in aged care facilities, and you got to know the problem.
That's
you
right.
You got to know it. You got to feel it. And for us, connection, social connection, family, memory. Meeting the aging Australians where they are now. And you mentioned it just then. Little things, little moments, quiet moments in between care. These mean the world to individuals. They mean the world to carers as well. And they're a universe unto themselves. You walk into an aged care facility now. They're amazing. They've come such a long way
Yeah.
from the Royal Commission, and I think we need to get beyond that. We can talk to that. But really, to your point, the Aging Australia, they held their national conference 2 weeks ago in Gold Coast. Beautiful event. It's the national peak body of aged care, where we all come together and we trauma bonds, but we also, we look,
But this is the
we look to the
thing.
future.
It's so special,
Yeah,
isn't
it'd be
It's
so
amazing.
nice
Yeah.
if it wasn't a trauma bond,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I feel that if there's an impact, there is an enrichment happening here. We're coming through a hyper jump, if you like.
Yeah.
So all my care tech friends are there, all our aged care providers are there, our policymakers are there, government's there. And the one thing I'm seeing now is that person-centered innovation, that individual comes first. What we build is around those Australians, and it's to improve their lives at all costs. And I'm very proud to be part of that. And, I think of dementia innovation, I can name one or two there. Food innovation.
so talk to me about dementia innovation, because I'm sure Mitch would have wished that into existence.
So many. We've got fantastic Dementia Australia that has so many resources which are amazing. But when I think of let's think of a startup. Think of a little guy, Richard Bray, an individual. I think from UK here in New South Wales.
Okay.
He started Heartstream, and that is an application. I'll probably get it wrong here, but it was inspired by his experience with his mum going through dementia. He coded it himself.
Wow.
And essentially, it's probably changed a lot now, but memory, music, being able to share stories from family to this resident to help with their stimulation and
Yeah.
their journey home. So he's done amazing work, and I think of Andromeda just down
Oh
the
yeah,
table.
so I was going to ask you, I'm just going to
And I've got
pull it up because,
incredible.
Mitch, how much might a little robot have helped with some really practical things like getting the Jatson cheese to come to your bedtime to not interrupt the conversation you're having?
I suppose it could have, yeah.
Like, we're talking about a massive future shortage of care workers in
Absolutely.
Australia,
Yeah,
right? Like
absolutely.
hundreds of thousands of
Absolutely.
people are missing that they need to train, that we need to bring in. And I mean, a lot of technology could be used for good and harnessed to help augment. And of course, technology is never going to replace a
That's a
human.
good word, augment, not transform.
Yeah, that's right.
Transformation,
Yeah.
no. Augmentation, yes. And it's about placing tasks, not roles.
That's exactly right.
That
Exactly
fundamentally,
right.
that's what we're looking at. And Abby, the humanoid companion,
Yeah, so that's the name of the robot, isn't
and
it?
Grace Brown, a friend of mine, I'd say, and the founder and creator, right there on
Yeah.
the picture as well. Andromeda's the company.
It's
They
amazing
do
stuff.
amazing work with social innovation, like
Yeah.
connection. Play 90 languages, I believe.
Wow.
Abby speaks, and you've got to think about reverting back to your mother tongue when you're at that stage and being able to speak Mandarin or being able to speak Greek.
Yeah, exactly.
Melting
Exactly.
pot that is Australia.
It's such a disadvantage in aged care at the moment.
The language issue,
incredible.
yeah.
It's incredible. So Andromeda Abbey is just doing amazing work, and then we've got the likes of Sam here, from Sam Bridgewater from Pure Foods Co. had a moment there, Pure Food Co. And they're making texture modified food, so you can have nutritious meals. You can
Yeah.
have
Because that is seriously my biggest fear of residential aged care is that you'll get like hospital food and it's
Yeah.
just so like I don't want my mashed potato in an ice cream scoop.
No.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I just find that gross.
Yeah.
if care is number one, food is number two.
I would agree.
I think everybody agrees with that. Yeah.
And connection, human connection and isolation is the flip side, right? And aging there's definitely a risk of that. And they talk about isolation being as bad as smoking. It's actually can set off some of the really terrible health cascades. But also, I guess there's this, how do I describe it? There's these wishes or longings that the change doesn't happen, which is part of why we keep death in a cupboard and don't talk about it.
Yeah.
But how much do we just need to have our eyes open to what's realistic versus keeping it locked away and living in denial? What's your thoughts on that, Mitch?
To keep it realistic, as in to keep where your person is at realistic.
And also, I guess, if you could talk to that Mitch before she had to hear through the phone call
Yeah.
about stage 4 cancer, what would you say to her?
No, I would
Well-
literally say, buckle up, babe.
Well,
This is
because
going to be the biggest shit show of your life.
And this is the reality for a lot of caring journeys, right? Is it goes from, oh, life's rocketing along to,
Mhm.
oh, hang on, and then hang on. And you know, I've spoken to a lot of people since working at Citro about this stuff,
Yeah.
and they're navigating massive financial challenges as they try to work out how they can get care support. They're navigating who gives up work.
And it often happens like that,
Yeah.
with a phone call.
Like this.
You know, your mum's in hospital, there's been an accident, or there's been a fall, or there's been a heart attack, or there's been a something,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, your world just flips upside down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
do you think, I mean, Jean Kitson talks about being prepared, but of course no one can be prepared for it, right? It's like being prepared for children when you have
I
children.
don't know if I can agree entirely with that. I think no matter how healthy or unhealthy your parents are, I really believe that end-of-life conversations are so helpful, no matter how far away your end-of-life may seem, because it can be, the wishes, your end-of-life wishes can be evolving,
Exactly.
right?
And so let's talk about how to bring up those end-of-life wishes without being a ghoul or death-obsessed. My grandmother would have smacked that conversation away straight away. She never liked talking about death. And that's because she grew up in the era where friends did die of polio.
Yeah.
Kids went to the beach and drowned
That's
because they
right.
were, you know, they didn't know how to swim. Like, you know, death was all around
Yeah.
for previous
Yeah.
generations.
Well, Gene Kitson said it right. You know, it could be a movie.
Yeah.
There could be a moment, and
Yeah.
you know, somebody's unwell on TV. You go, well, look, that person's not well. And what about you, Mum? How are you feeling?
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's an episode we watched recently, and she said it well. You know?
Yeah,
That's a really cute idea. I remember seeing that with Jean as well. It's a
Yeah.
really cute idea.
What else though? Like,
I think it depends. If deterioration is already in the room,
Yeah.
and it's looking like you're going to be stepping up as your carer pretty soon,
Yeah.
or maybe you already are, I would not make it about them and their death. I'd make it about me. So
Right,
as you
about
so
us.
shift the emphasis off, you know, you need to tell me what you want. It's like, I actually want to know because I'm going to be the one that has to get this right. So
okay.
have you ever thought about
Okay.
what you want? Have you ever been to a really great funeral? What was it like? What made it
What's
so
your
good?
funeral song?
What's your funeral song? Because usually people have a funeral song in there somewhere.
Or they've thought about it.
Well, my
Jimmy
parents
has
were
it.
both Christians, and they were both like, yes, we want this Bible verse, we want this prayer, we
Oh,
want
really?
these 16
Were they
hymns. And I'm
Catholic?
like, I was writing as fast as I could.
Is that a Catholic thing?
No.
Oh,
Anglican.
Anglican.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What was their song?
Oh, see, mum's changed.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, mine will change. I don't want some
Mum's
lines
changed.
anymore. Seems too narcissistic.
Yeah, but the thing is, no one knows when their number's up.
No.
So whatever your last decision was, we're going to go with that if you've already
Well,
gone.
This is right, and it is so challenging because I had to navigate, like my dad literally just died abruptly. I think
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, I told Jim this, he was going to buy a packet of ciggies and, you know, just croaked it in the street. And then I was the one
So
left who had to organise a funeral. I knew what he wanted because he made it so clear that he wanted to be at Waverley Cemetery where his grandfather was buried. We had a family plot. He left no instructions whatsoever. Didn't
But
have
that's
a
an
will.
instruction.
Well, it was a verbal, conversation.
Sometimes that's what you've got to
was
go on. Like, I remember
drummed
one
into
day
me.
he said this thing.
No, my dad used to say it a lot. He was
Okay.
quite obsessed with Waverley Cemetery, best ocean view in Sydney, he used to say.
It was not wrong.
And then I had to spend, 2 days navigating how I found the family plot that God knows
Well,
where
get
it
this,
existed.
Yeah.
every time I go home to the UK, Cambridge, my
Yep.
dad takes me upstairs, shows me his briefcase,
Does he?
and it's a briefcase, black kind of old school briefcase, reminds me of
Oh,
the
it's got all
code.
the papers.
I was going to say, it's got a lock on it,
I think
right?
it's 000.
Or
And
No one's ever going to guess
and
that.
he says, Jimmy, take this briefcase to this law firm, and
That's really
that's
good
how
though,
it's
isn't
going to
it?
go down. But
Yeah,
for the past,
it
I
is
would say,
helpful.
15 years, he's been telling me to
He's
do this.
prepped up.
Yes.
He's prepped.
Good.
So he's like my mum. They're British. but
I
they
have
must be
ignored this
Yeah,
for
because-
15 years. I've gone, no worries,
Because
sir.
they're not
yeah,
in forever.
No problem. I just thought he was only now. I'm like, oh my God, he was planning.
Yeah.
He has been planning.
But also planning not to be a burden for his kids, which I think
That's important.
Exactly.
exactly, that's a value. So my dad did not have that in mind whatsoever, whereas my mum kind of does, right? Like I told you she's got a phone list of where I take the antique vase to get the best price. Like she's totally got it nailed.
Some people are like that.
Yeah.
And some people are just the exact
Control
opposite.
freaks.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're actually helpful at end of life. The control freaks that have left
Yeah.
instructions, you're going to be so thankful.
Well, because I did feel like I was just, and you feel, as a loved one, you feel like you're letting them down if you don't make the right decision. I know that's a waste of time thought because they're kind of not around to know, but that's how you judge it when you're the grieving person. Grief is such a jumble of weirdness, right?
Yes.
And grief, you know, this anticipatory grief, I think, is a really interesting phenomenon because while we've got, you know, shrinking health span but longer lifespan, the anticipatory grief, it's not just in the circumstance of dementia, for example.
No.
It can happen in all kinds of situations. I guess, how do you acknowledge that this might be what you're feeling, Mitch? I mean, I have no idea.
I guess because I'm so familiar with it, mate. It's, you know, I've lost my Mark, I've lost my parents, I've lost one of my cats, I'm about to lose my last cat.
Oh, don't.
So I know.
It's
So
too much.
it is too much, but I guess there's an advantage of it, so I know the terrain, I know what's coming. I think the worst part of my first experience, which was losing Mark, it was the biggest one.
Yeah, of course.
And then, you know, that was such a whammy. And
But
I
it
didn't
would
know
be a-
he was going to die until a month before he actually left. And it's a lot to take in. Like, if I had have known before that, I would have done more things to pad out
What would
my
you
grief.
have done?
I would have got more video recordings of him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go.
They're
I think-
gold.
I think this is exactly I am so incredibly, you know, happy you mentioned that because the amount of video footage and photos being shared, 50,000
Yep.
moments
Yeah.
of tea time in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
It's all old photos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all
The
unassuming,
videos, it
unassuming
makes it
moments.
real.
Unassuming moments.
Yeah, you can hear their voice, you can see their eyes. I only got one from Mark, and it is my most prized possession, hands down.
So,
Yeah, and that's why I got 1,600 million of my mum.
Oh, and a lot of people say once a loved one has died, they'll just ring to get the voicemail. You
You're
know.
allowed to. Optus sent me his voicemail. You request it. They have a bereavement package. It
Oh, I
costs
didn't
nothing.
even know
Yeah,
this.
you
I learned this
can.
recently.
Oh, yeah.
I learned this recently.
Yeah.
Oh, tell me
Yeah,
what other
well, when you
bereavement
show-
things we need to know about.
Well, that's one of them.
Wow.
And yes, I've listened to it just to hear his normal voice, not his I'm dying voice, which are two very different things. And because it all happens so slowly, his deterioration, you forget what the sound of his normal voice was.
Yeah, which is obviously what you fell in love with and built a
God.
relationship
And
over.
you're like, oh, I feel like ringing Mark. Oh, I didn't have like 2 hours to sit and sob over this, so no, I'm not going to do it today.
And just talk about those grief moments because they come and hit people. There's a really great book called Everybody Died, So I Got a Dog, which brought grief to life for me in a whole new way because it's one of the funniest books I've ever read, as well as one of the
I haven't
saddest
seen that
books.
one. but I'll
You will
check it
enjoy
out.
it. It's
Yeah.
very, very funny. So this woman's sister dies first of horrific cancer, then her mother dies of MND, then her dad dies of dementia, and then she's like an orphan in the world.
Sounds familiar, yeah.
And so she finally gets a dog. And the grief she just talks about, you know, she called them kitchen floor nights, where she just lies sobbing on the kitchen floor when you couldn't go out as planned.
The thing is, you know, you have to have mercy for yourself because you're just like, I don't want to be doing this. It's like, do it. You need to go through it. If you avoid it, it's going to be worse.
And talk about Violet and this service or resource that's there for people. So explain how that works.
The Violet Initiative, violet.org.au. I've been a Violet volunteer guide, and I love the word guide because it means someone who's walked this path before.
Yeah.
So in order to be a guide, we give support, phone support to people who are caring for someone with a life-limiting illness and or grief and bereavement. So there's often crossover once their person has died. Then
Right.
we switch our support to bereavement support.
Oh, okay.
And it's just, the thing I loved about Violet is it popped up on my Facebook feed about 6 months after Mark died, and I was like, what's a Violet? I'd never heard of them.
So how did Mark Zuckerberg know that you needed Violet? That's my
Don't know,
question.
Mark might have heard me sobbing on the kitchen floor.
Maybe he knew about your Optus
Oh, we all know
voice.
they're listening. But yeah, and they were asking they were trying to make a new recruitment of new guides, and in order to be accepted into the training, which was phenomenal, you had to have lived experience in both caring for someone with a life-limiting illness, tick, and grief and bereavement, tick.
Okay.
And I must admit, at the time, I just went, this is perfect. I want to do this because I had received absolutely selfless help from such incredible, total strangers
Yeah.
from opposite ends of the globe. There's a woman named Linda in the UK. There's a woman named Jill in the USA. And when I was literally drowning in cancer and cancer management, they were like, okay, I will take your hand. I will show you how to do this. Here's the protocol. Here's what you need to do. They spent hours with me. And they expected nothing other than, we've been there, we know what it's like.
Would you feel it's a calling?
Absolutely. Why would
do you
I not
feel
want to
this-
pay that forward? I can't pay them back.
Yeah.
But I will never forget them. And I am compelled to pay that forward. And I know what it's like to be dying and drowning.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when someone just says, take my hand, you're like, oh my God, there's someone there.
Yeah.
Why would I not want to do that?
I think that's amazing. Now, interestingly, Mitch, you've got a very interesting background. You taught aerobics, you're a yoga guru. She's taken people up the Harbour Bridge. She's a very interesting woman.
I was a bridge climb leader.
Bridge climb
You
leader.
know the people that climb
Yeah.
the Harbour Bridge?
Yeah.
I used to lead the tours.
Yeah. And
It's such a fun job. Anyway.
example, you just
It's
on
really
Sydney
fun.
Harbour all
I
day.
know.
You do the aerobics up
No, I
Well, you've got to be chained to the bridge when you're up there, so it'd be very hard for her to
That's
get her high jump going
Yeah.
for
there.
that.
That's good.
No, but I believe some other person's done yoga up
Yeah,
there, which
yeah.
so is
Have they?
I didn't even know.
I remember when I was first a journalist arriving in Sydney, I interviewed one of the bridge monitor people, and I said, what's the strangest story of the Harbour Bridge? And they said, we found a shopping trolley on the top of the
Yep.
Harbour Bridge.
Yep.
How?
How?
Exactly how.
How did they get a shopping
Exactly
trolley?
how.
Shopping trolleys, you find them everywhere.
Yeah, I know.
I came out
I
of
know.
my hotel room last week in
Yeah.
WA, and there was one right in front of my door.
That's
I know, and you're like,
But I was on level 29.
That's the thing.
Can someone tell me where this
Because
guy
they
came
are
from?
like the surreal mystery of life.
Wasn't-
How shopping
no,
trolleys.
They've now been replaced by e-bikes, so if there wasn't so much security on the Sydney Harbour Bridge, I reckon there'd be an e-bike up there sometime.
We could probably ride up the top
Yeah.
of the Harbour Bridge on an e-bike
Yeah.
and then call them to get it back.
Yeah.
But tell me though about some of the really good self-care rituals you can do while you're caring, while you're in this space of overwhelm and looking after everybody except yourself.
Yeah. Okay, I want to speak to the overwhelm.
Yeah.
And it's about asking for help. You have to get comfortable with asking for help.
And how do you do that if you're
Well-
not comfortable?
You just have, well, if you're going to try and, you're going to literally buckle under the weight of all of this if you don't receive help. And you will have zero level of self-care. So when you get sick,
Which
the
is
whole
inevitably
thing,
what
the
will
whole
happen
thing
if you
goes
burn
to
out.
shit. So
Yeah.
you need to stay well enough to be able to do what needs to be done. And there's a saying, it's like, participate in the human urge to give. Just say yes. Because humans want to help,
Yeah.
especially someone they love or their dear friend. I can see you're dying over there. What can I do? And that phrase, that throwaway phrase of, you know, if you need anything, just call me. No,
I get
really,
that.
just call me. It's not good enough. Just show up with a lasagna and leave it on the door and send a text saying, go outside, there's a lasagna. Just
My
read the
mother-in-law
room.
does that now.
Do they have kids? Does she do a school run? I'm coming, just text the night before, I'm coming. What time do I need to be there? I'm taking the kids to school and I will take the dog for a walk as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't
Okay.
argue with me.
Okay, so
That's
you've just got to get
you
really
just
bossy.
show up, you get bossy. No one's going to say
I'm
no
very
to
good at that.
food on the doorstep. No
No.
one's going to say no to, I'm coming to do your laundry for me. No one's going to say no to that.
Okay.
It's like, okay.
I kind of learned that through marrying my wife, her Lebanese family.
Oh,
Yes.
really?
So I open up my blinds and my father was there at 6
Yeah.
a.m. cutting the grass and, you
In a
know,
Really?
non-creepy way.
in a very creepy way. and, you know, let me tell you a story. I lived with them for a
Bless
little
him.
while, and every morning, I would be in the shower as you do, and the door would fly open. There he is. You got any washing? You got any washing?
The Brits are very prudish about
I
bathroom
was like,
time.
hold on,
Easy.
hold on.
Yeah.
But listen to this. After 6 weeks, I was like, yeah, no worries. Washing's down there. Don't forget to iron them. I stopped resisting. I stopped
So
resisting.
funny, Jimmy.
So I think it took me a while to learn this.
Ah.
But I do believe you just show up and you contribute,
You just
and you
contribute.
don't wait for the you know
Yeah.
the request.
Do you know what? There's this other thing which I can't not mention. There are apps, and the one I know and like is called
What's it
called?
God, my tribe?
Gather
No,
My Crew.
Gather My Crew. That's
Gather
it.
My Crew.
Gather My Crew.
It's kind of like the WhatsApp situation. You know how we all have a WhatsApp
Yeah.
family. You just add people to it.
Yeah.
You add your friends to it, and you put the tasks that need to be done. School
Yeah,
run,
yeah, yeah.
Woolies shopping,
right.
all that sort of stuff. And so the people that are on your team,
Yeah.
they can see what you need, and they'll bid for it. They'll go, yep, tick, I'll do that tomorrow.
That's a
Oh,
good one.
And it's out there.
That's a good one.
And
I've
you
never
recruit friends,
heard of it.
and you get them on this app, and it's so good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
okay.
meals, and what are your dietary restrictions? Well, we've got one that's gluten free and the other one's vegetarian. So great, at least you know.
Yeah.
So what was the most helpful thing in your surreal journey? What was the really helpful thing for you? You're going like, I can't remember, I'm too scarred.
Most helpful thing was when it finished,
Oh,
which is awful because you lose your person. Because I had, okay, here's the thing, I just remembered. Mark's sister lives in Melbourne,
yeah.
and Mark spent most of his illness in COVID times in lockdown, especially the last year of his life, which was very
And
heavy.
Melbourne was very locked
Melbourne
down.
was very locked down, and you know, bless her, she was dying to come up. She would conference call in all the oncology appointments. She was very hands-on from afar,
Yeah.
and we all knew she was busting to come up and just get her hands on him. And as soon as they were let out of lockdown, she arrived.
Yeah.
And there's a saying, and it's something like this: you honestly don't realise how much help you need until the help shows up. And you're literally like, okay, there's lists, there's a million alarms, there's ridiculous amounts of medicines and pills every single moment.
Yeah.
And I remember I had to go out for a few hours one time, and I said, okay, well, here's the list, and da-da-da-da-da, and all this has to happen. And I remember getting home, and she's standing there in the kitchen with this look on her face. I said, you all right? And she goes, this is unsustainable. I'm like, yeah, I know. Did you do all the things? She goes, yeah. I'm like, we just have to keep going. You've got no choice but to keep going.
But can you make it kinder on yourself? I guess is my question.
It depends on how hectic the given situation is, and that's why I'm such an advocate for you need to recruit people.
Yeah,
You
okay.
need to recruit people.
Because,
Because
yeah,
sometimes
okay.
it's just such a lot. If you're caring for your parents in your own home, whew, I take my hat off to those people.
Well, this is going to be the reality, right? And perhaps that is where a lot of aged care tech could be really interesting, because most of us are going to age in place at home. Residential aged care is going to become more of a rarity for all the reasons we've talked about. There's not enough workers out there. Funding is
Incentivizing the
difficult.
workers well enough.
We also know there's all these changes coming, and we're probably all going to need to pay a lot more for our care in some way, or contribute in some way. And I guess, what's the good, bad, and get over it of that? Like, what do we need to do to prepare to care for people better at home and as part of our busy lives, right? So you don't just go from, oh, I'm happily planning my life and I'm going to go caravanning or travel to Europe, and then, oh no, you've got stage 4 cancer.
That's the thing.
How do we make it easier and get with it rather than deny
I
it?
think from aged care, from my perspective of aged care, I think the public conversation is really, really important.
Yeah,
Having the conversation like we are now,
yeah,
celebrating innovation like we are now,
yeah,
and understanding that, consulting with those
Yeah.
at that stage, there's so much to learn, so much they can offer in terms of what do they want, in which manner do they want to age,
That's right.
and where would they like to age. Ask the question, like you would anything, ask the question.
Exactly.
We
Be
spent-
curious.
Be curious.
Yeah.
That is a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
Be curious, because you might very well learn. I have seen it. Residential aged care is not where we think we want to go, but I have seen aging Australians choose to go to residential aged care for the social
exactly.
element. They're very lonely for the square meals, 3 square meals a day, plus
Exactly.
more.
Plus social interaction, plus activities.
It depends on the individual. Living
It
at
really
home
does.
makes sense for potentially yourself or for whoever, because you've got a lovely home, you've got a lot of people around you. But for some, they've been lonely for 5 years, and I've had countless conversations that, and when they enter the caring environment, suddenly
Yeah,
it
well,
works for them.
Yeah, we had a very big conversation with Andrew Boll and Alice Stoltz from Domain about the fact that, yes, everyone thinks they want to stay in their home, but you know, you don't want one person living in a 5-bedroom house with 3 bathrooms, you know, especially because none of those 3 bathrooms probably enable a carer to come in and easily shower them anyway.
Exactly.
And we sort of need this whole fit for purpose kind of ways of living, which perhaps don't exist yet. And as limited imagination people that prefer to put all the bad stuff at the back of our brains, we're not imagining what can happen and how things can change. Because I certainly saw that my mum moved to a sort of over 55s retirement community place, which is very much more affordable, super connected, really well designed so that everyone runs into each other all the time. And it's just, they have friendships and make new friends.
It's such a good thing.
It is such
It's
a
a
good
really
thing.
positive thing.
It is.
And how do we foster that more? I mean, how do we make sure that we're continuing to have these conversations?
It's a really interesting question. It's sort of, I never remember any time at all at school. We learned at school, but I never remember anyone going, and by the way, sometime probably during your 50s, your parents are going to turn to shit. It's going to be inconvenient. It's going to be a nightmare. It's going to upend your entire world. And good luck with that.
Well,
It's coming, people. It's coming.
Well, it is coming because that's the privilege of having people you love in your life.
That's the thing.
And you know, some people would love to have their parents around still,
Exactly.
right?
And everyone's situation is different. Like I have
Everyone's.
2 siblings, and you know, people say, "Oh, well, you know, between the 3 of us, we'll
it
get
never
time."
works that way, though,
Never
right?
works that way.
So
No.
Rachel Lane and Stephen Huppert, there's another podcast coming up with them, and Rachel Lane hilariously calls these people Teds. And I'm like, what's a Ted? Thinking Big Ted, Little Ted from Placebo. She said, Ted is the elder's daughter or daughter-in-law, because it's usually a woman. And she says the Ted is the one shouldering the burden. And there's often a lot of friction around how do you share the caring burden
I'm a
amongst...
Ted.
Yeah. Well, how do you?
My dad's name is Ted.
Oh, there you are.
That's why I was confused.
There you are.
Okay, yeah, I am a Ted.
You are
I
a
am a
Ted.
card-carrying Ted.
And can you explain how to share the caring burden with siblings? Because it's very difficult to navigate these conversations,
The
right?
thing is, if they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it.
And this is
true.
This is the hardest.
That's the hardest.
We see it on tea time. We have families who join to connect with their loved ones.
Yeah.
And some families have no interest in
Exactly.
connecting and sharing and communicating.
Wow.
And we try to get to them. We give them opportunities to join, just from
Wow.
just from
Yeah.
adoption
Perspective.
And there's nothing you can do. There's no interest. So, and some families don't talk.
Well-
Some siblings don't talk. They have to create separate groups for one resident. They want to see each other. It's so
Yeah,
complicated.
I
It's so
know.
complicated. And I
Wow.
think your families are very, very complicated.
Of course they are. I see this a lot
I
with
know.
my clients. I've had a personal experience of it. You know, estrangement within families
That's
at this
right.
time is so common.
It really is, and I think it's very traumatic as well. And maybe we should talk
It really
a little
is.
bit to some of the trauma, because while it's all fine to say, oh, we can have a nice conversation, sometimes you can't, right?
Sometimes you can't.
And
Those
some
conversations get shut down.
And sometimes the estrangement is very real until a few years after the death, right? Like, I've seen it in some of my own friends' lives where people who I think are perfectly, they would never throw a basket of croissants at their siblings, but they did in this instance. And it led to massive fracture. And
The visuals, my
it's
goodness.
hilarious. It's kind of
Yeah.
like, because these are people that I never would have, like I would totally do something like that. But no, not these people. And yeah, it's all happening around death and bereavement
Yes,
and
yeah.
so
That's it.
family dynamics that have been laid the ground
I
for
know.
30 years might come to the fore and
Yeah.
you know,
Stress
It's-
manifests these
Yeah.
things in many different ways.
Exactly.
and how do you counsel people through that grief and
Well, the thing
bereavement
is,
counsellor?
it's kind of,
How do you
there's
do
a
that?
bit of a thing about acceptance, like they have their experience, they're doing it the way that they need to do it.
Okay.
Even though you desperately want/need their help,
Yeah.
it's like they've made it obvious, help's
Yeah.
not coming. And
So there's bashing your head against a brick
there's bashing
wall.
your head against a brick wall, but there's also factoring in different relationships. I had a very different relationship with my mum
Okay.
than my 2 siblings did.
Yeah.
Did.
And look, you know, parents never want to talk about favourites. Like, you know, I've got 2 kids and no one's my favourite, but sometimes, you know.
Gotta say, come
You
on.
can tell us.
No, there isn't favourites, but sometimes things are just easier.
Yeah.
And it depends what the task or the issue at hand is, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it becomes the same around caring. Because carer
It's intense.
burnout is very,
Oh,
very
God.
real, right?
Yes, it is.
So Australian Senior did some research and they're saying care burnout costs $18,000 a year. And the Productivity Commission has an even more startling financial statistic, which is that it will cost you, to care for someone, it will cost you around $375,000 plus around $175,000 in your superannuation that you don't earn. So there's some numbers that some research, and they're all Australian numbers, that put the figure on
I know.
caring, because we don't care enough about caring. And previously, we did have a lot of unpaid women at home
Yes.
that we don't have anymore.
The previous generation, it always fell to the women.
And
They
it's
often left primary school at year 6.
Yes, because I had a sick mum or a sick
Exactly.
grandma at
That's what
home,
my
or I had to
grandma
care for my
did.
brothers and
Yeah.
sisters, or and
And it was women's work back in those days.
Absolutely.
and look, it definitely still is, but there's got to be ways. I mean, men aren't the way they used to be. And how do you recruit people who don't want to care into caring? Mitch, what can you do?
From a family perspective,
Just cross your fingers and yell? Like what?
I've done the yelling. I've done the.
You tried all
I've
approaches.
done all of those ridiculous approaches, and it's like, well, the job has to be done. So there's also outsourcing. Like, what else can we do? But
Yes.
if there's literally nothing, then I would start asking friends. Okay, I'm drowning here. How can you help me?
So, okay, start with family, go to friends, and obviously go to organisations.
Anyone who loves you, anyone who vaguely even gives a shit about you, ask them.
Yeah, okay.
Ask
And
them.
then what boundaries do carers really need? Because obviously we've got this duty to others versus your duty to look after yourself. What do you need to think through?
Little things like, for example, if you've got yourself in a routine of, I have to visit her every day, is that really necessary? She won't die if you don't come.
Okay.
So if you are really sick
Okay.
or just bone exhausted,
Yeah.
give yourself a day off. She won't die. They won't die. That sort of thing.
Yeah,
We tell
okay.
ourselves these stories and we do get so entrenched in this new identity that's so important to that person.
Mm.
But it's destroying everything you've got. You know, your personal life, your health, your mental health. It's taking such a toll while you dig your heels in and go, I have to do it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, I think it's definitely challenging, and it
Yes.
helps to be able to talk about it and connect over it. But Jimmy, I guess, what do you hope getting older looks like in another 30 years' time?
What I hope it looks like.
Yeah. What's your wildest imagination?
Dignified. I think
Yeah,
that's a great
a
word.
nice answer would be dignified.
Yeah.
Choice.
Yeah.
You know, some really, really important fundamentals, I think, first and foremost.
Yeah.
I hope it would then be fun. There would be life
Yeah.
after those,
I
after
agree.
those, in those late
Totally
years. There would
agree.
be fun, there'd be connection, there'd be storytelling, and there would be opportunities to still make mistakes.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I think the joy is sometimes in the mistakes, isn't
Oh.
it? I mean, that's been my life all over. All I ever do is make mistakes.
But the thing is, who's honestly been to carer college? Going, so you do this, would you like a certificate?
Well, there are
literally
3 million unpaid carers in
That's
That's
Australia.
true, I was going to mention that.
And
3 million.
It's a shit show, and you're just riding by the seat of your ass. And it's like, how do I do this? I don't know. You just learn.
Yeah, you do.
Just figure
Well,
it out.
I think we just need to care more about caring,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Because it's a fundamental human need.
Yeah.
And certainly we can, put numbers all over it as much as we want. But the reality is we care for people because we love them.
Yes.
And it's not always a privilege or happy to care for people who might be in the, have a life-limiting illness or, have high needs care or...
There can be other complexities involved.
There really can. But I guess let's cut to my two-question part of the chat. I'm going to just cut to you first, Jimmy, and I'm going to get you to think through your very first answer. Because you're British, I'm just going to guess them. If I hit you with tea or coffee, what's your answer?
Tea.
Which type?
Earl Grey.
I knew you'd say that. I just knew.
With some lemon.
Oh, look at you. Look at you.
Now I'm very posh. Okay.
Oh, I
I'm going
With lemon.
Yeah, with lemon.
With lemon, you
Goodness
know,
me.
just mix up. I put it in the fridge if you want.
Oh, you like
if it's a
nice
hot day,
I like
then
that.
it's something that's nice
Okay.
to go.
Okay.
So that's
Okay. FaceTime or face-to-face time?
face to face, skin on skin.
Okay. Tech first or people first?
People first.
Yeah.
People first. People first.
People first.
People first.
Okay. AI or human touch?
Oh, I would say, well, it's human touch. It's human touch. You know. it's
Okay.
human touch.
Now, are you an early bird or a night owl?
It's changed. It has changed. I
Is
used
that
to be-
just because you have young children?
Yes.
How did you know?
First caring duty that makes you wake up with the birds
Exactly.
is having young kids.
I used to be a night owl.
Yeah.
Now I'm in bed by 7 p.m.
The irony is when your children leave home like mine have, I still wake up at bloody 5:30 or 6 a.m. and I like, they're not even there for me to need to do that. It's so annoying. Short term or long game?
Short term.
Okay, always go short.
Live in the moment.
Okay. Comfort or convenience?
Expectation.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I want good things to happen.
Okay.
And they will happen.
Okay, that's good. What about thinking cap or party hat? You've got your hat on.
Yeah, it's party hat. Party hat.
Party hat.
Let's have fun.
A good time. We're here for a good time, not a long time.
As
That's
they
it.
say.
So that's what they say. All right, Mitch, I'm going to go to you. First, I'm going to say Tim Tam or mint slice.
Tim Tam.
Who likes mint
I
slice?
do like them,
Do you?
but like given the yeah, I do.
I really dislike them intensely.
I like the texture. But who doesn't like Tim Tam?
I just think Tim Tams are the winners, and yeah.
I don't like it.
You don't like a Tim? See,
We can never be friends.
out.
I'm sorry.
After this,
Out damn
Go on.
spot.
That's right.
That is outrageous.
I hate them.
Who are you?
I know. A lot of people do say this to me, and I'm outraged.
I don't understand.
It's
I
like
don't-
not
I don't know what
liking
the hype
ice
is.
cream.
What's the hype?
Because
Not that
it's
good.
chocolatey
It's a
creaminess.
Big
But you know,
creaminess.
Don't be silly people.
Just the right amount of crunch that
I agree.
there's zillions of flavours there are now.
But you know what else it is? I think it's the British chocolate is
Better.
they think it's better, but it's not. It's sort of it's not because we have our chocolate's made to withstand higher
Our
temperatures.
I knew it. I knew
We're
it.
so used to that.
And so we like the creaminess of a Tim Tam and our chocolate, but the Brits you don't like that, and I think that's why you don't like the Tim Tam. This is
No.
just my view.
I
Yeah.
get it.
It's totally my
I'm
view.
open-minded.
It's not based on
I'm
anything.
open-minded.
That's good to know.
Okay. Okay. Palliative care at home or hospital?
There are pros for both.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. If you're in hospital, yeah, you get to, as a
Hospital's
carer,
good. Nurses are nice.
as a carer, nurses are really nice for the
Yeah.
most part. As a carer, to do it in hospital means you don't have to care anymore, so all you need to do is love them out of this life.
That's so
And that,
interesting.
I would pick that over home care.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
You're allowed to bring your pets into the palliative care ward. Of course you are. And they have a bar cart,
Oh, do they?
which is one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced.
So just tell me about what's on
Well,
the bar cart
It was,
when you
10,
go
it was
to
about
hospice
10
care.
o'clock in the morning,
You
and
can
Yes.
get a
Mark was
grog.
probably about 2 days away from his death, and there was a soft knock on the door, and I opened up, and this woman, she's got a fully laden bar cart. She's got every spirit, ears, everything, ice, glasses, all of it.
Did
And
not
she
know
just looked at me and
this.
she goes, "Do you want something?" And I went,
At 10
"He
a.m.
has cancer. He can't have any of this." And she went, "It's not for him. It's for you."
Oh, that is so great.
No,
So
but-
that's a secret.
Did you get?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
But now she
I
probably
have
wishes
my
she
stash
did.
already.
Oh.
So what else do they give you that we don't know about? So you can get free voice messages after death. You can get drinks.
Yeah, you can get
in
drinks in palliative care.
palliative care.
That's a great question. Maybe I should write a blog on that.
Yeah, you really should.
The
Have a
free
think.
shit you get.
All right, here's my back to my questions because I'm very good at distracting myself. Brave face or breakdown? Maybe both.
Look, there's something to be said about having a breakdown because it's a reset. And
Okay.
he forces you to stop.
Okay, and that's helpful when you're in the
It can be
crisis
helpful.
of caring.
Yeah.
Okay, plan ahead or wing it?
Plan ahead. Now that I know what I know.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's really interesting. Laugh or cry? This is better, isn't it?
I'm sick of crying.
Yeah, well, it's you kind of been through a hard
And
time.
I do love a laugh.
So, control or surrender?
I'm going to say control because it's oozing out of me. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. That is absolutely okay. So, morning exercise or midnight crying?
You don't know me at all, do you? Midnight crying.
Okay. On that note, I'm going to ask you to think one more time what your funeral song would be. I want each of you to explain. Mine this time, so one that's stuck in my mind is Monty Python's Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. I was so surprised. It was like a somber judge, you know, it was a friend of mine's dad, and he was always so, you know, earnest and like, and then at the end of the funeral they played that song. It was just hilarious. Like it
does get a
absolutely
get a bit of
lightened the
later.
mood.
Yeah.
So yeah, have a think. Funeral song.
Oh God. This is off the cuff. I wasn't
Yep.
prepared for this.
Yep.
I'm just going to go with Massive Attack. Unfinished Sympathy.
Oh. What about you?
I'm going to go with Wham, Tropicana.
Is that just because it's a happy song?
Just a great song.
Get everyone up dancing.
It's a great song.
What do you think George Michael played at his funeral?
What was his song?
I don't know. I'm gonna Google it after this though, because I
Wow,
don't
that's a
know.
really good question.
I know.
Or Freddie or
Because
someone.
he died so young.
I know.
He was in his 50s. I think his mum might have even had to be at his funeral.
Yeah, she was.
Which would have
I
been
read
just.
the biography, yeah.
I feel like that would be the most distressing thing for any parent. So, I think always look on the bright side of life. I think that's all you've got. You're here for a good time, not a long time, right? We don't know how. None of us know how long we've got.
Yeah.
None of us know what's around the corner, and that's part of the joy of the delay. But not as joyous as having both of you talk with us today. So thank you for being on the midlife
Thank you
shift.
for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Now, what was my timing on that?
1 hour 10.
Oh, far out. That's all right, I do. Sorry, guys. Look at Tom. Just look at me. He goes hour 10.
It was rolling for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay.
That's good.
An hour then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's I always try and hit that.
Good.
Well, I've worked out now it's about this many cards.
Good.
No, I try and be good. But we'll see,
That was fun.
yeah, well, as long as